I blew up at my stepsister at her comments about my lost weight. I've been overweight my entire life, like the kind of fat where people stare at you in grocery stores and kids whisper. Last year, I finally decided enough was enough and started working with a trainer and nutritionist. I've lost 85 lb so far and still have about 20 to go. But I actually feel human for the first time in years. My dad remarried when I was 16 to this woman, Carol, who had a daughter my age named Madison. Madison was always the golden child. Perfect body, perfect grades, captain of the dance team, dated the quarterback. Meanwhile, I was eating lunch in empty classrooms just to avoid the cafeteria. Madison never said anything directly cruel growing up, but she had this way of making these little cutting remarks that destroyed me. Like when I'd go for seconds at family dinners, she'd say, "Oh wow, still hungry?" with this fake concerned voice. Or if I wore something new, she'd be like, "That's such a brave choice." When I started losing weight last year, she didn't say much at first. But as the pounds kept melting off and people started noticing, I could see it bothered her. Suddenly, she wasn't the only one getting compliments at family gatherings anymore. Last weekend was my dad's 50th birthday party at their house. I wore this navy blue dress I'd been saving. It was a size 12. Might not sound small to some people, but it was the smallest size I'd worn since middle school. I walked into the party and immediately got bombarded with compliments. My aunt literally gasped and said I looked incredible. My cousin asked what my secret was. Even some of Carol's friends were asking about my workout routine. That's when Madison walked over wearing her usual crop top and miniskirt combo, clearly expecting to steal the spotlight like she always does. She had this fake sweet smile plastered on her face as she looked me up and down slowly, making sure everyone was watching. Then she said loud enough for the entire room to hear, "Oh my God, you've lost so much weight. You look so much better now. I mean, you're still pretty chunky and have a long way to go, but at least now you look like normal fat instead of scary fat. Good for you for finally doing something about it." The entire room went dead silent. I felt my face burning with embarrassment and rage. This girl had spent years making subtle digs about my weight, making me feel like garbage about my body. And now, when I was finally making progress and feeling genuinely good about myself for the first time in years, she couldn't even let me have that moment. Something inside me just completely snapped. All those years of built-up anger and resentment came flooding out at once. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You know what, Madison? I can lose more weight, but you'll always be an ugly person on the inside, and there's no gym membership that fixes that." But I didn't stop there. Years of suppressed rage just poured out of me. I told her how pathetic it was that she felt so threatened by me finally getting healthy, that she had to try to tear me down in front of everyone. How sad her life must be, that she needed to put other people down just to feel good about herself. I said everyone in that room could see exactly what kind of person she really was. Shallow, insecure, and mean. That she peaked in high school with her little dance team captain title and would spend the rest of her life desperately trying to recapture that moment because she had absolutely nothing else going for her. I told her that her personality was so rotten and ugly that it actually made her face look hideous too. That I'd rather be fat for the rest of my life than be anything like her. By the time I was finished, Madison was completely frozen, tears streaming down her face. Carol started moving toward me, her face twisted in rage. My dad stood near the kitchen staring at me like I'd become someone he didn't recognize. That's when Madison pulled out her phone with shaking hands. Her voice came out broken, but loud enough for everyone to hear. "You want to destroy me? I've been recording everything you just said. Every single word." She held up her screen and I could see the recording timer running. My stomach dropped. "I'm sending this to your job right now," she said, her finger hovering over the send button. "Let's see how your new HR department feels about their employee verbally abusing someone at a family party." I knew she was serious. She had my boss's LinkedIn. She'd found it months ago. The room held its breath. My cousin grabbed my arm and whispered, "Apologize. Right now." But I could see Madison's smirk starting to return through her tears. That smirk. That same exact expression she'd worn 1,000 times before when she thought she'd won. When she'd made me feel 2 inches tall with one of her little comments and nobody had noticed. I felt my cousin's hand shaking on my arm, felt every eye in that room pressing down on me. Madison's thumb was still hovering over her phone screen. Carol had her hand over her mouth, already looking at me like I was the monster who'd ruined her perfect daughter's life. And my dad. My dad just stood there in his ridiculous birthday hat with 50 and fabulous printed on it, looking between me and Madison like he was watching a car crash in slow motion. "I'm not apologizing," I said. My voice came out steadier than I expected. The room somehow got even quieter. Someone's kid started crying in the backyard, probably picking up on all the tension even through the sliding glass door. Madison's eyes went wide. "What did you just say?" "You heard me." I pulled my arm free from my cousin's grip. "Go ahead, send it. Send it to my boss, my coworkers, hell, post it on YouTube for all I care." "Riley, stop." My dad finally spoke up. His voice had that warning tone he used to use when I was 16 and staying out past curfew. "Just apologize to your sister and we can all move past this. She's not my sister." The words came out sharper than I meant them to. "She's the daughter of the woman you married. And she's been making my life miserable for 8 years while everyone pretended not to notice. Carol finally found her voice. That is completely unfair. Madison has always tried to include you, to help you. Help me? I laughed, and it sounded slightly unhinged even to my own ears. Is that what we're calling it? When she told me at Thanksgiving that maybe I should skip dessert because the dress I was wearing already looked tight? When she suggested I wear Spanx to your Christmas party because my body was embarrassing the family? When she literally told her friends at my dad's last birthday that I should be grateful anyone even looked at me? Madison's face went pale. She hadn't realized I'd overheard that conversation through the bathroom door last year. That's not… I didn't mean… She stammered. You meant every word. I turned to face my dad directly. And you let it happen. Every single time. Because Madison's the golden child and I'm just the daughter who reminds you of mom. My dad flinched like I'd slapped him. We never talked about my mom. She'd passed away when I was 15, a year before he met Carol. I knew he'd rushed into the marriage partly because he couldn't stand being alone with his grief. Or with me who looked just like her. Riley, that's not true? Yes, it is. My hands were shaking now, but I kept going. You let her make those comments because it was easier than dealing with the fact that you chose a new family over your actual daughter. You think I didn't notice how you laugh at all her jokes? How you brag about her accomplishments to your friends? How you introduced us at your office party as my stepdaughter Madison and my daughter Riley like there was a hierarchy? Madison was fully crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. But her phone was still up, still recording. Good. Let her record this too. I have worked my ass off for the past year, I continued. I've gotten up at 5 a.m. every single morning to go to the gym before work. I've meal prepped every Sunday. I've said no to every office birthday cake and happy hour and dinner party because I was finally doing something for myself. And the first time I feel good enough to wear a dress that isn't trying to hide every part of my body, she calls me fat in front of everyone. Again. You called her ugly, Carol interjected. You said horrible things about her character, her future. I said the truth. And unlike her, I didn't hide it behind fake concern or smiles. I looked at Madison. You want to send that recording to my boss? Go ahead. My boss who told me last week that I was the hardest worker in the department. My boss who gave me a raise and promotion 2 months ago. The same boss whose wife is also on a weight loss journey and who understands exactly how hard this is. Yeah, send it to her. I'm sure she'll be super sympathetic to you. Madison's thumb moved away from the send button slightly. Riley, my dad tried again. I know you've been through a lot this year with the weight loss and stress at work, but this isn't you. You're a kind person. You don't say things like this. And that's when something else inside me broke. The part that had been trying to be the good daughter, the understanding stepdaughter, the person who swallowed every insult and kept showing up to family dinners and pretending everything was fine. You're right, I said quietly. The old Riley wouldn't say these things. The old Riley would have gone to the bathroom and cried, would have left early with some excuse about not feeling well, would have spent the drive home replaying what Madison said over and over, would have skipped her meals for the next week as punishment for daring to feel good about herself, would have probably gained back 10 pounds from the stress. I looked around the room at all the family friends and relatives who were pretending to be very interested in their drinks. But I'm not that Riley anymore. I'm the Riley who realizes that being kind to people who are cruel to you isn't kindness. It's self-destruction. And I'm done destroying myself to make other people comfortable. Madison was still holding her phone up, but the smirk was completely gone now. She looked small suddenly, standing there in her carefully chosen outfit that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. Send the recording, I said, meeting her eyes. But I'm sending my own evidence too. Every text message where you made comments about my weight, every screenshot of your Instagram stories where you posted photos of me at family events with captions making fun of what I was wearing, every email where you forwarded me ads for plus-size clothing stores or weight loss programs with little notes about how you were just trying to help. Her face went from pale to gray. You kept those? Every single one, dated and time-stamped. I hadn't actually organized them. They were scattered across years of deleted folders and old phones. But she didn't need to know that. So go ahead and make me look like the bad guy. But I'm taking you down with me. My aunt, the one who'd complimented my dress earlier, suddenly spoke up. Carol, maybe we should all take a minute to calm down. This party is supposed to be a celebration, but Carol's face was rigid with anger. I think Riley should leave. Clearly she's not interested in being part of this family. Carol, my dad started, but she cut him off. No, Richard. She just verbally attacked your daughter in front of everyone, refused to apologize, and is now threatening Madison. In our own home. This is unacceptable. She's attacking me? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm responding to being publicly humiliated. Again, for the 100th time. You're being dramatic, Madison said, finally lowering her phone. Her voice had lost some of its confidence. I was just being honest. I thought you'd want honesty. You always say you hate when people aren't direct. There's being honest and there's being cruel. You know the difference. You just don't care. Carol put her arm around Madison's shoulders. I think you should go, Riley. Before you say anything else, you'll regret. My dad was still standing there, frozen, looking between all three of us like he couldn't figure out which side to take. That told me everything I needed to know. Fine, I said. I grabbed my purse from the chair where I'd set it. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. But I want everyone here to remember this moment. Remember that Madison called me scary fat in front of all of you, and you all just stood there. Remember that when I finally defended myself, I was the one who got kicked out. I started walking toward the door, past all the uncomfortable faces and people suddenly very interested in their phones. My aunt reached out and touched my arm as I passed. Riley, honey, maybe in a few days when everyone's calmed down. No. I pulled away gently. I'm done pretending this is normal. I'm done being the punching bag while everyone else gets to play happy family. I made it to my car before the tears started. Got the key in the ignition on the third try because my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I could see Carol and Madison through the kitchen window, Carol hugging her daughter while Madison cried into her shoulder. My dad had disappeared somewhere. The drive home was a blur. I lived 45 minutes away in a small apartment I'd moved into after saving up for 2 years. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and right now I needed to be somewhere that was completely mine. When I got inside, I threw my purse on the couch and went straight to the bathroom. Looked at myself in the mirror in that size 12 navy dress that I'd been so proud of that morning. My mascara was smudged and my eyes were red, but underneath the tears I could see it. The face that was starting to emerge as the weight came off. Cheekbones I didn't know I had. A jawline that wasn't buried anymore. I'd done this. I'd worked for this. And Madison's words didn't change that fact. My phone started buzzing. Text messages flooding in. Dad, we need to talk about what happened. Aunt Linda, I'm sorry about tonight. Madison was out of line, but so were you. Family is complicated. My cousin Trent. Dude, that was intense. You okay? Unknown number. This is Carol. You owe Madison an apology. What you said was inexcusable, and you know it. But nothing from Madison herself. Of course not. She'd probably spent the last hour showing everyone the recording, painting herself as the victim. I turned my phone off and ran a bath. Lit the expensive candles I usually saved for special occasions. Today felt like it qualified. I'd just blown up my entire relationship with half my family. Might as well go all in. While the tub filled, I opened my laptop. The petty, vindictive part of me that had apparently been waiting for this moment opened Facebook. Logged into the account I barely used anymore. Found Madison's profile. Public. Because of course it was. She had 2,000 followers who liked to watch her perfect life. Her Instagram was even more curated. Gym selfies, brunch photos, carefully angled mirror shots showing off her flat stomach and thin thighs, captions about body positivity and loving yourself while she tore me down in private. I started scrolling through my old photos. Found the ones from family events over the years. Me in the background, always positioned carefully by Carol and Madison so I wasn't front and center. The camera angled so I looked as large as possible while Madison looked tiny. There was even one from Christmas 2 years ago where Madison had her arm around me with her hand spread across my stomach, drawing attention to it. I'd been so blind. Or maybe just so desperate to be part of a family again after losing my mom that I'd ignored all the signs. There was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. For a paranoid second, I thought it might be Carol or Madison coming to finish the argument. But when I checked the peephole, it was my neighbor Tasha from 3B. I opened the door. Hey, girl. Tasha looked me up and down. You look like you've been crying. And you're all dressed up. Bad date. I laughed, and it came out slightly hysterical. Family party. Say no more. She held up a bottle of wine. I was about to open this and watch trash TV. You look like you could use both. I probably should have said no. Should have had that bath, gone to bed early, dealt with everything in the morning with a clear head. But Tasha was nice, and I really, really didn't want to be alone. Let me change first. 20 minutes later, I was in sweatpants on Tasha's couch while she poured wine into coffee mugs because she hadn't unpacked her wine glasses yet from her move 3 months ago. So, she said, settling in next to me, family drama? Let me guess. Someone made a comment about you being single, your job, or your appearance. All three, technically. I took a long drink. The wine was cheap and slightly bitter, but I didn't care. My stepsister called me fat at my dad's birthday party. In front of everyone, Tasha's eyes went wide. She what? And then it all came spilling out. The years of comments, the weight loss journey, Madison's public humiliation, my complete meltdown, the recording, getting kicked out, all of it. Tasha listened without interrupting, her expression getting more and more outraged as the story went on. When I finished, she was quiet for a minute. Then, so she's been bullying you for 8 years, finally got called out on it, and somehow you're the bad guy? According to my stepmom, yeah, that's some bullshit. Tasha refilled both our mugs. I'm sorry, but family doesn't get a free pass to treat you like crap just because you're related. Found family is just as valid as blood family. Sometimes more. I felt tears threatening again. I don't know if I still have a family after tonight. Then we make you a new one. Starting with me, wine, and she grabbed the remote. Reality TV where other people make way worse decisions than anything you did tonight. We spent the next 3 hours watching a show about people getting married after knowing each other for 2 days. My problems suddenly seemed more manageable in comparison. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. I'd turned it back on to order pizza earlier and forgotten to silence it again. Dad. Riley, please call me. Your stepmother is very upset, and so is Madison. I don't think you meant the things you said. You've been under a lot of stress. Let's talk this through tomorrow. The message made my stomach turn. Not Madison was wrong, not I'm sorry for how she treated you, just concern about how upset they were, and an excuse for my behavior. I showed Tasha the message. Don't respond tonight, she advised. You're emotional and you've had wine. Sleep on it. Figure out what you actually want to say. She was right, but I couldn't stop thinking about that moment in the kitchen when my dad just stood there. When he'd called what Madison did being honest, and told me I wasn't acting like myself. Maybe I wasn't acting like the version of me they wanted. The quiet, grateful, compliant Riley who took up as little space as possible, both physically and emotionally, but I was done being that person. The next morning, I woke up on Tasha's couch with a headache and my phone full of messages. I'd fallen asleep around 2 a.m. while Tasha gave commentary on the terrible life choices of reality TV contestants. Most of the messages were from family members I barely talked to, apparently now very invested in the drama. A few were from Carol, escalating from disappointed to absolutely appalled by your behavior as the night went on. One was from Madison herself, sent at 4 a.m. Madison, you really hurt me tonight. I don't understand why you hate me so much. I've always tried to be nice to you, even though you're difficult to be around. I hope you're happy. Everyone's talking about how unstable you are. I stared at that message for a full minute. The manipulation was so blatant now that I was looking for it. I've always tried to be nice when she'd spent years making cutting remarks. You're difficult to be around, painting me as the problem. Everyone's talking about how unstable you are, trying to make me paranoid about what people thought. Tasha came out of her bedroom in a bathrobe, hair in a messy bun. You're up. How's the family circus this morning? I showed her Madison's text. Wow. She really went with the everyone thinks you're crazy angle? That's advanced manipulation. Tasha had apparently dealt with her own family drama because she spotted it immediately. Block her, seriously, nothing good comes from reading that stuff. I can't block her. I stopped. You know what, yeah, I can. Blocking Madison felt weirdly liberating. Then I blocked Carol too. My dad could reach me if he wanted to actually talk instead of playing mediator, but I needed to do something else first. Something I'd been too scared to do last night. I opened my Instagram. My personal one had maybe 200 followers, mostly coworkers and old high school friends I never talked to. I rarely posted. But I posted now. It was a simple post. A photo of myself from yesterday morning, standing in front of my bathroom mirror in that navy dress, smiling. I looked happy. I looked proud. Before everything went to hell. The caption took me 20 minutes to write. Yesterday was a reminder that some people can't handle watching you become the person you've always wanted to be. That's okay. Their discomfort is not your burden. To everyone on a weight loss journey, facing body shaming, or dealing with family members who tear you down, you don't owe anyone an apology for taking up space. You don't owe anyone access to you just because you're related. And you definitely don't have to shrink yourself physically or emotionally to make other people comfortable. 85 lobbies down, 20 to go, and prouder than ever of how far I've come. I hit post before I could chicken out. Within an hour, the comments started rolling in. Supportive messages from coworkers I'd never expected to respond. Old friends from high school saying they remembered how badly I'd been treated and were proud of me. Even a few people who knew Madison commenting about how they'd always thought she was fake. But the message that made me actually cry came from my Aunt Linda. Riley, I'm sorry I told you to calm down yesterday. You were right. We all saw what Madison was doing over the years, and we stayed quiet because it was easier. That was wrong. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Your mother would be proud too. Call me when you're ready. My mom. I hadn't let myself think about her through all of this. What would she think of the person I'd become? The person I was trying to become? She'd always told me that being kind didn't mean letting people walk all over you. That sometimes the most loving thing you could do was set a boundary. I'd forgotten that. Or maybe I'd never really understood it until now. My phone rang. Dad. I almost didn't answer, but I needed to have this conversation eventually. Riley. His voice sounded tired. I've been up all night. Carol is threatening to leave me if I don't cut you off completely. Wow. Straight to the point. Okay, I said. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. Then I guess you have a choice to make. It's not that simple. You said terrible things to Madison after she said terrible things to me. Again. For the 100th time. Dad, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to really think about the answer. If someone who wasn't related to you, wasn't Madison, had said what she said to me yesterday, would you think it was okay? Silence. Would you be friends with someone who talked to people like that? I pressed. Would you work with them? Would you let them date your daughter? That's different. It's not. You're giving her a pass because she's Carol's daughter and you don't want to make waves. But in doing that, you're telling me that keeping the peace with your wife is more important than protecting your actual daughter. I'm not choosing. Yes, you are. you've been choosing for 8 years. Every time you laughed when she made a comment about my weight. Every time you told me to be understanding when she did something cruel. Every time you introduced her as the successful one, the pretty one, the daughter who had it all together. You chose. I could hear him breathing on the other end. Heavy, like he'd been running. Your mother, he started. Don't. My voice came out sharper than I intended. Don't bring Mom into this. She wouldn't have put up with any of this. She would have called Madison out the first time she made one of those comments. You know she would have. Your mother is gone. His voice cracked. I had to move on. I had to build a new life. I couldn't just, I'm not asking you to still be in mourning. I'm asking you to be my dad. To care about how I'm treated in this new life you built. I was crying now, hot tears running down my face. Do you have any idea how much it hurt yesterday? I walked in feeling beautiful for the first time in years. Actually confident. And she destroyed that in one sentence. And you stood there? You just stood there. I didn't know what to say. He sounded defeated. You both were so angry. I was defending myself. There's a difference. I wiped my face with the back of my hand. Look, Dad, I love you. But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep showing up to family events where Madison gets to take shots at me and I'm supposed to smile and take it. Where Carol defends every cruel thing she does and you stay neutral because it's easier. So what are you saying? I'm saying I need space. From all of this. From Madison, from Carol, from family parties where I'm either invisible or a target. Maybe from you too for a while. Riley, you're my daughter. Then act like I am. Actually think about what I've been dealing with. Actually consider that maybe, just maybe, Madison isn't the perfect stepdaughter you think she is. Actually choose me for once. My voice broke. And if you can't do that, then I guess I have my answer about where I stand in this family. There was a long pause. I could hear Carol talking in the background, her voice high and insistent even though I couldn't make out the words. Carol says you need to take that Instagram post down, Dad said finally. People are commenting things about Madison. She's getting messages. And there it was. Not, I understand, not, I'll think about what you said, not, I choose you, just Carol's demands. Tell Carol she can take up her concerns about social media with Madison, who recorded me without permission and threatened to send it to my employer. I was so tired suddenly, bone deep exhausted. I'm done, Dad. When you're ready to have an actual conversation where you listen instead of just mediating, call me. Until then, I need space. Riley? I hung up. Tasha was standing in the doorway, 2 mugs of coffee in her hands. That sounded rough. It was. I took the coffee she offered. I think I just might have ended my relationship with my dad. Or you set a boundary and he has to decide if he's going to respect it. She sat down next to me. Those aren't the same thing. Doesn't feel different right now. I know. But give it time. Either he'll realize what he's losing and fix it, or he won't and you'll know where you stand. Both outcomes suck, but at least you'll know the truth. I spent the rest of the day at Tasha's, avoiding my phone and the growing number of comments on my Instagram post. Some were supportive. Some were clearly from Madison's friends, calling me bitter and jealous and saying I was just mad because Madison was prettier than me. I tried not to read those, but they still stung. Around dinner time, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Riley? This is Amber from high school? Amber, I vaguely remembered her. We'd had English class together junior year. She'd been nice in that distant way where you were friendly during class, but never hung out outside of school. Hey, I said cautiously. I saw your post. And I needed to call. I remember Madison. She used to make fun of you when you weren't around. In the bathroom, in the parking lot. She'd say stuff about your weight and your clothes and how it was so sad that you didn't know how to take care of yourself. When you started dating that guy senior year, what was his name? Trevor. Right, Trevor. Madison told everyone you'd probably give him whatever he wanted because you were so desperate for attention. I didn't say anything. None of us did. We just laughed or changed the subject because Madison was popular and we didn't want her to turn on us. Amber's voice was shaky. I felt guilty about it for years. And seeing your post, seeing that she's still doing it to you, I had to tell you. You were right to call her out. We all should have done it 10 years ago. I didn't know what to say. I'd suspected Madison talked about me behind my back, but hearing it confirmed was different. Why are you telling me this now? I finally asked. Because I have a daughter. She's 7, and I keep thinking about what I'd want someone to do if people were treating her the way we let Madison treat you. I'd want someone to stand up for her, to tell her it wasn't okay. You deserve that. Better late than never, I guess. We talked for another 20 minutes. Amber told me about 2 other girls from our high school who'd reached out to her after seeing my post, all of them with similar stories about Madison, about the casual cruelty that everyone just accepted because she was pretty and popular and dating the right people. After we hung up, I sat there feeling vindicated and sick at the same time. I'd been right about Madison, but it didn't feel as good as I thought it would. Over the next few days, my post went semi-viral. It got shared by a body positivity influencer I followed who had 100,000 followers. Suddenly, I had hundreds of comments from people sharing their own stories about family members or friends who'd torn them down during weight loss journeys. Madison's friends tried to fight back in the comments, posting photos of Madison looking sad with captions about bullying and cancel culture. But for every one of them, there were 10 more people sharing stories about Madison's behavior. Girls from high school, from her college, even from her current job. I didn't join in. I'd said what I needed to say. The rest was just other people finally feeling safe enough to share their own experiences. On Wednesday, my cousin Trent called. So Madison deleted all her social media, he said without preamble. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everything. Just gone. Good for her, I guess. Aunt Carol is losing her mind. She's convinced you orchestrated some kind of campaign to destroy Madison's reputation. Uncle Richard looks like he hasn't slept in days. It's a mess. I didn't orchestrate anything. I posted one picture and caption about my experience. The fact that hundreds of other people had similar experiences with Madison isn't my fault. I know that. I'm just warning you that Carol's talking about lawyers, defamation, harassment, some other legal terms I don't understand. She's convinced you're going to ruin Madison's life. Madison ruined her own reputation by treating people terribly for years. I just stopped covering for her. For what it's worth, Trent said. I believe you. I've seen how she acts. Mom's been talking to Uncle Richard, trying to get him to see reason, but Carol's got him convinced that you're the villain in all this. After Trent hung up, I felt that familiar anxiety creeping back in. Legal action? I hadn't done anything illegal. I'd told the truth about my own experience. Other people had shared their stories. That wasn't defamation, but the thought of Carol and Madison coming after me legally, even if they had no case, was terrifying. I didn't have money for lawyers. I could barely afford my apartment and my gym membership. I called my Aunt Linda, I heard, she said before I could explain. Carol called me screaming about how you've destroyed Madison's life. I told her that maybe if Madison hadn't spent years destroying other people's confidence, she wouldn't be in this situation. She threatened legal action. She's bluffing. I talked to a lawyer friend. You posted about your own experience. You didn't lie. You didn't reveal private information. You didn't incite anyone to harass Madison. The fact that other people started sharing their own experiences isn't something you can be held responsible for. Carol's just used to bullying people into silence, and she's panicking because it's not working this time. I felt some of the tension ease from my shoulders. What about Dad? Aunt Linda sighed. He's caught in the middle and he doesn't know how to handle it. Carol's telling him one thing, I'm telling him another, and he just wants everyone to get along. But Riley, honey, you can't fix this for him. He has to decide what kind of father he wants to be. I don't think he's going to choose me. Then that's his loss. And his regret someday. But you can't set yourself on fire to keep him warm. We talked for a while longer. She told me about my dad's side of the family, how most of them were Team Riley but didn't want to get involved in the drama, how my grandmother, who lived in Florida and wasn't on social media, had called demanding to know what was happening after one of my cousins filled her in. Grandma wants your number, Aunt Linda said. She's furious that Richard has let this go on for so long. I gave her permission to share it. 30 minutes later, my phone rang. Riley Ann, Grandma's voice was firm and loving at the same time, the tone she used when she was about to tell you something important. I just heard about what happened at your father's party. Grandma, let me finish. I'm 78 years old and I don't have time to sugarcoat things. That Madison girl has been poisoned since your father married her mother. I've watched her put you down at every family gathering. I've listened to her make little comments about your weight, your clothes, your job, everything. And I've watched my son stand there and let it happen because he's too afraid of Carol to be a proper father to you. Hearing my grandmother say it out loud, so matter-of-fact, made something in my chest loosen. Your mother would be ashamed of him, she continued. She would have shut that Madison girl down the first time she opened her mouth. And she would be proud of you for finally standing up for yourself. Everyone thinks I went too far. Everyone who enables bad behavior always thinks that when someone finally calls it out, you didn't go too far. You went as far as you needed to go to be heard. There's a difference. We talked for over an hour. She told me stories about my mom I'd never heard before, about times when she'd stood up to people who tried to push her around, about her strength and her refusal to shrink herself for anyone. You're more like her than you know, Grandma said. And honey, I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner. I should have. I thought staying out of it was the right thing to do, letting your father handle his own family, but I was wrong. I should have protected you the way your mother would have. After I hung up with Grandma, I realized I was crying again. But this time it wasn't from hurt or anger. It was relief. Someone in my family saw me, really saw me, and validated what I'd been experiencing for years. That night, I got back into my workout routine for the first time since the party. I'd skipped the gym all week, too emotionally drained to even think about exercise. But standing there with the dumbbells, feeling my muscles work, feeling strong, it reminded me why I'd started this journey in the first place. Not for Madison, not for my dad or Carol or anyone else, for me, because I wanted to feel good in my body, because I wanted to be healthy, because I deserved to take up space in the world without apologizing for it. 2 weeks after the party, I got a message from an unexpected source. Holly, one of Madison's friends from college who'd been posting on social media about how I was a bully. Holly, I owe you an apology. Madison told us you'd been harassing her for years, that you were jealous of her, that you'd always been unstable. But then I found out she told the same stories about 3 other girls who cut her off. She has a pattern. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Her apology wasn't going to undo the damage or give me back the years of confidence Madison had chipped away at. But it was something. More messages like that came over the following days. Madison's facade was cracking, and people were finally seeing the pattern of behavior she'd hidden behind her perfect exterior. My dad still hadn't called. Carol had apparently escalated to sending me legal demand letters, which I forwarded to the lawyer friend my aunt had recommended. He laughed and said they had no case, but he'd respond officially to make them go away. 3 weeks after the party, on a random Tuesday evening, I got a text from Dad. Dad, I've been doing a lot of thinking. Can we meet for coffee? Just you and me. No Carol, no Madison. Just us. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to let him sit with the consequences of his choices the way I'd had to sit with the consequences of being Madison's target for 8 years. But he was still my dad. And maybe, just maybe, he was finally ready to actually listen. Riley, Thursday at 2 p.m., the Starbucks by my apartment. And Dad, if you bring up me apologizing to Madison or taking down my post, I'm walking out. Dad, fair enough. See you Thursday. Thursday afternoon, I showed up 10 minutes early and got my usual iced coffee. Sat at a table by the window where I could see him coming. He arrived exactly at 2 p.m., which was very dad of him. He'd lost weight, I noticed. Had dark circles under his eyes. He looked older than he had at his birthday party 3 weeks ago. We stared at each other for a minute. Then he surprised me by speaking first. I'm sorry. 2 words I'd been waiting 8 years to hear. I'm sorry I didn't protect you from Madison, he continued. I'm sorry I let Carol convince me that her daughter could do no wrong. I'm sorry I stood there at my birthday party and didn't immediately tell Madison that what she said was cruel and unacceptable. I'm sorry I called you instead of her to fix things. I'm sorry for all of it. I felt my throat tighten. Why now? What changed? Your grandmother called me. We had a very long, very unpleasant conversation where she told me exactly what she thought of how I've been handling things. Then your Aunt Linda called. Then 3 of your cousins called. Then Madison's friend Jessica called and told me some things about how Madison treated people in college that made me sick. He took a breath. But honestly, what really did it was going through old photos. I was looking for pictures to frame for the living room, and I found all these family photos from the past 8 years. And in every single one where you and Madison are together, Madison is positioned to make herself look good, and you look worse. The angles, the poses, everything. Carol swore it was coincidence, but once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So Carol knows you're here? I asked. Carol and I are separated. I moved into a hotel last week. She gave me an ultimatum. Cut you out of my life completely and condemn everything you did, or lose her and Madison. I chose you. I should have chosen you 8 years ago, but I'm choosing you now. I didn't know what to feel. Relief, anger that it took so long? Sadness that my dad's marriage was ending because of me? This isn't your fault, Dad said, reading my expression. Don't take that on. My marriage to Carol was already falling apart. I just didn't want to admit it. She's controlling and manipulative, and she raised Madison to be the same way. I convinced myself I was building a new family, but really I was just trading one set of problems for another and sacrificing my relationship with you in the process. What about Madison? I asked. Madison is Carol's problem now. She's 26 years old. If she wants a relationship with me, she knows where to find me. But it has to come with an apology to you and accountability for her behavior. Carol's already told me that will never happen, so I guess that's my answer. We talked for 2 hours. He told me about the therapy he'd started, about how he'd been avoiding grief after my mom died by immediately jumping into a new relationship, how he'd wanted so badly for the blended family thing to work that he'd ignored every red flag, how he knew he'd failed me and wanted to do better. I told him about the weight loss journey, about how hard it had been, about how Madison's comment had crushed something in me that I'd worked so hard to build, about the years of small cuts that had made me hate my own body. I see it now, he said quietly. I see all of it, and I hate that I let it happen. So what now? I asked. Now I show up. Actually show up, not just be present in the room. I want to be your dad again. The dad I should have been all along. If you'll let me. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. We both knew rebuilding would take time. Trust wasn't rebuilt in one coffee meeting, but it was a start. As we left, Dad pulled me into a hug. I'm proud of you, he said. For losing the weight, yes, but more for finding your voice. Your mom would be proud too. Over the next few months, things slowly shifted. Dad and I had coffee every Thursday. He came to my apartment for dinner. He asked about my life, actually listened to the answers. We talked about Mom for the first time in years. Carol filed for divorce. Dad didn't contest it. He got an apartment near mine, started rock climbing of all things, and generally seemed lighter than I'd seen him in years. Madison sent me one message through a mutual cousin. I hope you're happy. You destroyed my family. I didn't respond. Her family had destroyed itself through years of dysfunction and enabling. I just refused to be part of it anymore. I hit my goal weight in August, 8 months after the birthday party that changed everything. Posted a comparison photo, me at my highest weight looking miserable, and me now, 105 pounds lighter and genuinely smiling. The caption was simple. The weight I lost was never the most important thing. The person I found along the way was, Dad commented, proud of you, kiddo, always. Grandma commented, stunning. Your mother is smiling down on you. Even Aunt Linda commented, remember when I told you to calm down? Worst advice I ever gave. Never apologize for standing up for yourself. Tasha, who'd become my best friend through all of this, commented, from the girl who gave you wine and reality TV in your darkest hour. You're a badass. I still struggle sometimes. I still have days where I hear Madison's voice in my head calling me chunky, calling me scary fat. Days where I want to skip meals or over-exercise as punishment for eating something I shouldn't have. But I have tools now. Therapy, real friends who support me, a dad who actually shows up, a grandmother who calls me every Sunday, a community online of people who've dealt with similar situations. And I have the knowledge that standing up for yourself, even when it's messy and uncomfortable and blows up your whole life, is sometimes the bravest thing you can do. Last week, I ran into Carol at the grocery store. She looked right through me like I didn't exist. That was fine. Some people never learn, some people never grow. But I'm not responsible for fixing them. I'm only responsible for myself, for my healing, my growth, my life. And for the first time in 8 years, that life finally feels like mine. Final thoughts. It's been a year since the birthday party. A full year of rebuilding, healing, and figuring out who I am when I'm not trying to please everyone else. I got promoted at work. My boss specifically mentioned how my confidence had grown and how I wasn't afraid to speak up in meetings anymore. Funny how standing up for yourself in one area of your life bleeds into all the others. I started dating someone I met at the gym. His name is Victor, and he's kind and funny, and when I told him the whole Madison saga on our third date, he said, good for you for not backing down. Not, you should have handled it differently. Or, family is complicated, just support. It's refreshing. Dad and I have dinner every week now. He's been single for most of the year and honestly seems happier than he was through his entire marriage to Carol. He's been going to therapy regularly and actually dealing with Mom's death instead of running from it. Last month, he told me he's been thinking about Mom a lot lately. About how different things would be if she were still alive. How she would have never let anyone treat me the way Madison did. I failed you, he said. I failed her memory too. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. I forgave him. Not because what he did was okay, but because I could see he was actually trying to change. And holding on to that anger was only hurting me. Madison's still with Carol, from what I hear through the family grapevine. She had to quit her job after the social media fallout and is apparently working as a receptionist somewhere. Carol's still telling anyone who'll listen that I orchestrated a hate campaign against her daughter. Most people have stopped listening. Turns out when you spend years manipulating people, they eventually catch on. I saw Madison once, about 6 months ago. I was at the mall with Tasha, and we literally almost walked into each other coming out of different stores. For a second, we just stood there, frozen. She looked different, smaller somehow, and not in a physical way. The confidence that used to radiate from her was just gone. Riley, she said. Her voice was quiet. I just nodded and kept walking. Tasha later asked if I felt bad, honestly. No, I didn't feel bad, but I didn't feel victorious either. I just felt done. That chapter of my life was closed, and I had no interest in reopening it. The weight has stayed off. I'm maintaining now instead of losing, which is its own challenge. But I've learned that the number on the scale matters way less than how I feel in my body. Strong, capable, mine. I've kept in touch with several of the women who reached out after my Instagram post. We've formed this little support group for people dealing with family members who tear them down. It's healing, being able to help other people going through what I went through. Last week, one of them sent me a message. I finally told my sister that I wouldn't tolerate her comments about my weight anymore. She called me dramatic and said I couldn't take a joke. I almost apologized. Then I remembered your story and I stood my ground. Thank you for showing me it was possible. That message meant more to me than anything. Because that's really what this was all about. Not revenge or vindication or proving I was right. Just standing my ground and showing other people that they could too. Sometimes I think about that night at Dad's birthday party. About the moment when Madison started recording and I had a choice, apologize and shrink back into being the person everyone expected me to be, or stand firm and deal with the consequences. I don't regret choosing to stand firm. Not for a second. Yes, it blew up my family. Yes, it was messy and painful, and there were moments I wasn't sure I'd survive the fallout, but I'm on the other side now, and I'm genuinely happy. Actually happy. Not just pretending to be happy to keep the peace. Tasha asked me recently if I'd go back and do anything differently. I thought about it for a while. Then I said no. Even the pain was worth it to get here. To get to this version of myself that doesn't apologize for existing. That doesn't shrink to make other people comfortable. That takes up space in the world without permission. This version of Riley is the one my mom would recognize, the one she raised me to be before grief and fear and the desperate need for family made me forget. I posted one final update on Instagram on the anniversary of the birthday party. A year ago today, I stood up for myself and lost half my family. Best trade I ever made. Here's to the people who stood by me, to the family I've built from scratch, and to everyone still finding their voice. Your discomfort is not my responsibility. Your growth is not my burden. And your opinion of me is none of my business. Keep going. It gets better. The post got thousands of likes and comments. But the only comment that really mattered was from Dad. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you sooner. I'm here now. Always. Love you, kiddo. And you know what? That was enough. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't the fairy tale version where everyone apologizes and we all live happily ever after. But it was real. It was honest. And it was mine. And that's all I ever really wanted.